I call to order the Tuesday, September 10th, 2019 meeting of the City of Davenport Historic Preservation Commission. If you have a cell phone, please place it in the silent mode or turn it off. We welcome everyone who is watching us at home on the city's cable TV channel. The Commission has before it the consideration of the August 13th, 2019 meeting minutes. Are there any changes, deletions, or additions? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes of August 13th, 2019, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the minutes are approved. Is there any communications from staff tonight? Seeing none, any communications from any commission members? Seeing none, we have no old business. We'll move on to new business. Item A is case number COA 19-09. Tear off roof on house and garage roof and install new one at 729 Western Avenue. The Carl and Minnie Eldridge Schlegel house is located in the local historic Hamburg district. Michael Koberman is the petitioner. Staff report. Koberman.
Pretty standard roof repair using darker trim and flashing. The contractor is here. If you got any questions for him, but it's a pretty straightforward request. One, hopefully that when we get our ordinance changed, we can just do this administratively. But the contractor is here if you have questions.
Are there any questions from the commission? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve COA 19-09 as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Roll call.
Cordes?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Wanio?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Franken?
Yes.
And Free.
Yes. Item B is case number COA 19-10. Tear off roof on house and install new one at 623 West 6th Street. The Gustav and Anna Heitzman Hegebach home is located in the local historic Hamburg district. P.J. Soblogen is the petitioner. Staff report.
Similar front, a gable front house, so not much of the roof is visible. PJ was a little concerned about they are putting some lining in the chimney that will extend a little bit above the chimney, but I didn't feel that was very uncommon. The roof's in the middle of the house, so it won't be very visible. PJ's here. She wanted me to show you the color, both previous and current architectural shingles. Again, a pretty straightforward request.
Would you like to address us, PJ? Okay. Are there any
Microphone hog.
questions from the commission? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve case number COA 19-10 as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second? Roll call.
Keel? Wanio?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Franken? Cordes? And Free.
Yes. Item C is case number COA 19-11. Remove exterior metal siding and install vinyl siding at 714 Gain Street. The Postel rental house is located in the local Hamburg Historic District. Michael Kubman is the petitioner. Staff report.
Now for the easy one. This is a real challenge. And so we have a building with metal siding. It appears to have been that way in the 1980s site inventory form. It's hard to see with the sun. And so it's sometimes challenging to kind of think through, well, if we're going to remove this aluminum siding, there's the potential to go back to the wood siding. And so that is what staff is advocating for. I sometimes question the replacement in kind theory for non kind of contributing elements. The house itself in the new survey was noted as contributing. I can attest that sometimes when you remove flashing from houses, you don't know quite what you're going to find out. And I'm in that situation now in my house. What I did learn today was, the petitioners here, is that this is an insurance claim, so he is proposing a vinyl side. I'm struggling a bit with this replacement in kind with different materials, and so again, the thing I will recognize is you're just not quite sure what you're going to get when you pull that siding off. Could be in decent shape. Petitioner mentioned that there are some holes where they probably punched in some insulation in the past, but we haven't had to deal with a whole lot of these as I can remember. So I'm, always cautious about what kind of precedent this commission's going to set. So I'd like to recognize you, but
So you're recommending against the vinyl siding?
yes, that's
Thank
correct.
you. Commissioner Cordes.
Yes, my question would be to Ryan as to address this kind of situation, which is bound to come up again in the future. Has there been any attempt to incorporate and clarify in the new draft of the Historic Preservation Ordinance?
I think that we, without a doubt, should. To clarify that a replacement in kind really deals with historic features or architectural features, and you are replacing that element with something in kind. I sometimes, I don't know, to be honest. I think there should be some differentiation between a replacement in kind of materials, especially ones that are not what we would consider architectural features. I know in the past with windows and things like that, if there's been a vinyl window, we've allowed a vinyl window replacement or something along those lines. Sometimes question is that, and it doesn't come up very often, but is that the direction we should go?
Commissioner McGivern.
So I guess, what I'm trying to debate and try to understand from a financial perspective, so they have 1970s wide siding that, in 2018, it looks horrendous. It cheapens the house. From our perspective, we would ideally like to see them take the vinyl off and restore the whatever was, but we don't know really, and they don't know really what is behind it. That a lot of times it was deteriorated, and that's why they threw that. That's what people did in the 70s. They still do it with vinyl. Or we could allow vinyl that would have some type of blending of color scheme and everything that would at least enhance the property in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I would say that the width of the vinyl board, and I think he's got a sample here, is probably more in line with the size of the wood siding that's original to the house. But petitioners here, if you want to.
Yeah, the vinyl siding that we would be installing is just a standard double floor. It's got, granted, you drive by, you're gonna know it's vinyl, but it does have a wood grain, and it does, match up with the old, wood siding look as far as the size, instead of, an 8 to 10 inch, aluminum that's on there now.
Commissioner Keel.
I,
Mike.
you know what, I'm gonna wait.
Okay.
Well, anybody else can say what else they have to say first.
Commissioner Cordes.
Yes. It seems to me that the language in the ordinance that deals with replacement in kind was intended to allow people to make repairs, and it's clearly stated that you're not altering something if you're replacing something with the same thing that was there.
So I'm going to describe a nuance of the code that I'm not really crazy about. We have a definition for replacement in kind.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay, so there's a definition, but, so generally in historic materials, when they're rotted, you can replace, I mean, we would approve replacement historic materials that are deteriorated and need to be replaced with replacement in kind. On a building like this, where there's an appropriate material on the outside, which we would not approve now, if the building was uncovered, never covered, wood clapboard siding, we would not approve any imitation or synthetic material to be put on that. But if this siding that was there, if there were 5 pieces that were damaged, we would approve replacement in kind
I would agree with that.
as a repair. So it's a little bit of a sticky wicket, because the application is not to replace in kind, but to go down the road and make to put on materials that we would otherwise not approve. Which I have to give, it probably would look better than what's there now. But that's not the point. And at the point when all the siding is removed, if we knew what the conditions were, it would be a lot easier to make a determination whether or not the underlying original materials are so deteriorated that approval for vinyl covering is the only reasonable path forward. But we don't know that, so it makes it very difficult to.
So I did chat with the petitioner before the meeting and kind of expressed, hey, sometimes maybe if we could delay this 30 days might be better than just saying no, so I'm going to offer a suggestion, which maybe I could meet with the petitioner and the homeowner and maybe see if we can look at a section or take a little bit closer of a look to it. Do you think that might?
As far as.
Yep.
And I don't have an issue with that as far as, meeting and see what we can find out. My only thing is, with it being an insurance-based claim, I don't know where we fall into, we can only go so far without, getting in too far. And like I had said, it's hard because I completely understand wanting to go, if you're gonna tear it off, now it's there, now you have, now you can see it, the original wood siding. As Ryan stated, it does have the plugs, or I call hole, the plugs that's it's shotguns all the way around the house where they have put insulation in. They're like every foot, and then that's every probably 3 or 4 foot. So you take that vinyl siding off, you're at least gonna run into that problem where there's holes, a foot apart. So for every 3 or 4 foot, you're replacing boards at least that much. So you do run into the cost of, where.
Is that through the current metal siding?
Yes.
What
Yep.
size are they?
I don't know exact. They're probably
Should be
a good $50,
Okay.
or silver dollar. They're probably a good, that big around. I do have pictures on my phone if you want to look at them, but that's up to you. So, but I don't have a problem, like I said, meeting and kind of seeing where we can go with this. I, being lower on the totem pole, in the company, I would also, obviously got to get it approved or see, like I said, with it being insurance-based, I have no idea what the next steps are as far as peeking in to tear off to see where we're at. The only problem I see with that is if we tear off this section and, you know, you kind of look up and take a couple pieces off and you're like, oh, it's in good shape. Go around to the other side of the house, that whole side could be rotted. So you just don't know unless you tear the whole thing off, how much is actually gonna need replaced.
Commissioner Warnio.
So the question I have is, since this is an insurance case, I've had contractors come up to me and ask if I've got any place with metal siding because they'll get the insurance and do it, right? So is this a case where it's all or nothing? You're either going to do the insurance case with it, or it might be too expensive to do it. They won't get the insurance if they do it the wood siding, right?
Most of the time with us,
Or is I guess my point is the owner, if they don't get the vinyl siding, are they just going to keep it as is? Is that the?
and I don't, I hate using the word assume. I
Yeah.
would assume that the homeowner, if they, because the way we work it is, for the most part, you pay your deductible, and whatever the insurance is gonna cover, the insurance covers the rest of it. So if it's I'm just throwing numbers out, if it's a $10,000 job, you pay your $1,000 and the insurance pays the other $9,000. So, I can't speak for the homeowner whether if we say, no, it's not, we're not gonna, insurance, that it turns into a retail job, I can't say whether the homeowner is gonna go through with the job or not.
Would the insurance would you guys even do the insurance on the wood siding?
I don't know if the insurance would cover that or not. The insurance is covering the damage that's on the aluminum siding to replace that with vinyl. I don't know if the insurance company would be willing to pay for, because at that point, I mean, with the vinyl, for the most part, you kind of have a base, it's a $10,000 job. With that wood siding, you have no idea until that aluminum's completely off how much that job's gonna cost. Where with the with the vinyl, we can if we have to repair a board to make it, like a nailable surface, then we would, but you're not replacing every, a lot more pieces than what you normally would. The holes, that are in it, that's gonna get covered with fanfold and then a house wrap, so those holes don't really cause an issue then at all.
When you say it's an insurance claim, is this due to weather damage?
Hail.
Hail?
Hits, yep.
I've seen what hail does to vinyl also, right here in Iowa.
And it does, it usually
It
takes.
puts holes in them where aluminum siding has dents.
Right. It's, it's just like, running your lawnmower,
Yeah.
get a rock in it, usually, and it's on there, and I don't know exactly, quote numbers and stuff, as far as wind resistant and break resistant, as far as hits and stuff, but usually it would take a good sized chunk of hail, to crack that, obviously.
1 inch and above.
If we got a freak storm and it hailed in winter when that stuff's cold, yes, absolutely, it's gonna hit it and it's gonna crack it. So you've got your pluses and minuses with every material you use, so.
Commissioner Keel.
Right this time. Is there a reason why the homeowner's not here?
We just typically ask for the petitioner. He submitted the application, so it's just
Okay.
required that the petitioner.
I just didn't know if, okay, that's all.
So your preference is a tabling for 30 days? So that you can have discussions with Ryan?
If that's what he's requesting instead of just a flat denial, then, we're willing to work.
Okay.
Like I said, I'd much rather, like he mentioned, I'd much rather take let's think about this for 30 days
Okay.
rather than, nope, it's, we're gonna,
Well, you could still come back in 30 days either way, but,
and it might be a no then too, but at least we put a little more effort into
All
it,
right.
so.
I would entertain a tabling of case number COA 19-11 until the October meeting. Is there a second? Any discussion on the motion? Roll call?
Juanio?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Franken? Cordis? Keel? And Free.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have no other business tonight. We will open it up to public comment. Seeing no one, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Is there a second? All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the commission is adjourned.